What's up, Spice Warriors? It's DuneBro, and this is going to be my opening guide to House Vernius of Ix. This is the latest faction that just came out last week, and I do have a faction overview. You can check that out on my channel, and if you like Dune content, consider subscribing, give me a thumbs up and a comment. It all helps me out as I work towards reaching 1,000 subs. But in this video, I'm going to be talking you through what I am thinking about as I am starting a game as House Vernius. I've already had several victories in free-for-all games online playing as this house, and I'm super excited to share what I've learned so far. And I will have some more advanced guides later, such as how to go for an assassination victory, how to incorporate nukes into your arsenal, and all bunch of more fun. Let's get into it. So the first decision you had to make before you started the game was, well, what counselors are you going to choose? And I have explored a few different options, but thus far, my favorite two counselors to choose have been Councilor Choices and Tessia Vernius. These are the two counselors on the far right. Now, the reason being, with this first one, you get a maximum influence increase by 5 per knowledge. Now with Vernius, they're all about technology and stacking knowledge, and the main reason really being, the more knowledge you have, the stronger your army is going to be, because your tethered drones get additional damage per each knowledge you have. So with that, you're already going to be teching towards knowledge, and with that you can be getting additional influence to help you win resolutions. Maybe you want to go for a governorship victory or something crazy, and then you get additional influence when other factions enter conflict with you. So very nice way to keep your enemy down if they're attacking you. This other one, Tessia Vernius, I really like this one. Information levels required for spying missions are lowered by 1. Now this is really important because if you are making the what are they called? The machines, analytical machines in the espionage panel, you can purchase those. They don't count towards levels. So because of that, you can get away with putting them in some slots, and you don't need to have as much of your regular agents to increase the levels. And if you want to go for assassination, which I just played a game where I assassinated all 3 opponents in an online game, this is your one, because in the later stage of the game, you got a lot of the text you need at the time you're about to start assassinating people. You can stop researching developments, and 100% of your knowledge, which you've probably already been stacking, can be turned into intel. So I've had it where I've had plus 40, plus 50 intel because of using something like this when I have 50 knowledge. So very good counselors. These are the two I recommend, the two on the far right. Okay, let's get into it. So the very first thing you're going to do is you are going to train up an ornithopter, and then you are going to train up a combine harvester drone. Realize those cost 700 Solari, the most expensive ones in the game. And then I'm going to get 2 fighting mechs. And I'm going to let that go. Put my first harvester, or my first ore ship on auto recon. This spice region, of course, is going to be the first region I am looking to get. I'm actually going to set my rally point as close as possible, so when these units spawn, I can immediately start taking this village. Now, I'm only going to open with 2 ornithopters. In other factions, I might make more, but with the harvesters being so expensive, my goal is to try to get a second spice field as fast as possible. And then, I'll be honest, it takes a little bit of luck finding it with your ornithopters, but we'll see what happens here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead, move this up to 1.5 speed as I play online usually, and I'm going to take this first region. Now, once I have this first region, I can put my harvester here on the spice. Now, you've got an important decision to make here out of the gate. I'm going to annex this as far as what is your first building going to be. So there we go. We've captured that. I'm going to take a second and grab this first leftover spice that's available out here as I heal up. Now let's talk about, why is this a decision you need to make of whether you're not, you know, for most other factions, you just slap down Plascrete Factory or water, or whatever it might be. Well, the reason being, House Vernius villages have a negative multiplier out of the gate. You can see 50% less resource production if it's not connected to the nodal network. Okay, so easy, right? Just build a nodal network everywhere. Well, there's limitations, right? You can only have nodal networks touching one other node. So if I have a neural network here, I'm not gonna be able to build one here because this one actually, your main base counts. I figured this out. So I've got to choose, do I want this to have 100% production, or maybe do I want this village to have 100% production? Now, I'm going to actually choose to build my network here. Reason being, like, why aren't you putting on your spice region? Well, your harvesters are separate from the village, right? Because technically, yes, you can gather from these, but you don't even have to own the village. You just have to have a neighboring tethered region with Vernius. So for that reason, I am going to not be building super tall in this village. Now, I will start with some initial resources. I want to go with some extra plasticrete. It's not going to be ideal as far as, you know, the production of that plasticrete, but it'll find otherwise. I'm going to take this next, and then we're going to build our node in that village. Now, you've got to pick your very first development once you get your first village. And it's good to have one in mind so you can just very quickly open the screen, pop up a few developments. Now, there's a bunch of different ways you can go with this tree, and honestly, I'm going to have a more in-depth guide later on as I've played a little bit more to give you like an exact, like here's a build order you should go for. But for this, I'm going to give you a general kind of idea what you can start with. I always start with the composite materials. Reason being, plus 10 plasticrete. You're going to want a lot of plasticrete early on to build up your villages, to get developments at your main base, and it's going to be a really important resource. So easy, that's your first option. Your second choice is where I say you've got a little bit of an option of what you want to choose. What I usually do is grab sequential thinking first, which makes it so your neural nodes will also generate you knowledge and give you a little bit of authority production, which is nice for research and expansion purposes. And maybe you want to go down this tech tree, which really makes it so you have the most bang for your buck as far as your authority income's going to go. But another route I've been enjoying quite a bit is going for my second fuel cell right away. And I'm actually going to do that route here. So we're going to grab our second fuel cell. So these first two right here, because with this, I can put additional fuel cells in my harvesters, and that's going to make it so I'm getting a lot more resources early on. You can see I've got 5 fuel cells to spare, and I don't plan on making a bunch of fighting mechs here at the very beginning. Okay, so I've got a little development there. I'm going to go ahead and take this second village. You see I've got enough authority for it. And what you can actually do is start queuing up these suboids. They only cost manpower, and they have a little bit of a Solari upkeep, but we're going to make it so they're free upkeep here in just a minute. I'll show you how. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and take this second village. Now, after I build my network here, usually I make a decision like, okay, which one of these starting villages is going to be my pillaging village? And for this game, probably this one. I can probably endlessly pillage. Ooh, maybe not. The only reason that would keep me back is villages have special traits. If you look at them, they call them quirks. And this one has an additional research hub and 20% research hub production. And for House Vernius, knowledge is so important. So I'm not going to pillage that one. I'm going to want to take that village here shortly. So we're going to have to decide which one's going to be our pillaging village very soon. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and capture that. In this one, I'm going to throw down Solari production. It's going to pay for itself. Even though it's not going to be at 100%, it'll be just fine. And these suboids are super, super weak, so you're just want to just keep making them. They cost manpower, and we're going to remove their cost here momentarily. I'm actually going to do that next.
Here to serve.
Okay, so we've captured this. Okay, let's go ahead.
Yes, my lord.
Oh man, as much as I would really love to get this plasticrete, oh man, we're gonna wait and see. Let's see. We're gonna uncover our second spice here soon. We know it'll be here soon, right? Let's go ahead and take our research, and we'll think more on that pillaging here in a moment. Honestly, you don't usually get this good of a spawn. This is kind of crazy. Every single one of these villages is really good. Sometimes you get 2 that are like, oh, they got nothing. Okay, by the way, pro tip, hit I, and you can see the resource outputs. Very nice. I'm going to try to micro some of the weak units back. And I'm going to take this knowledge village, and I'm going to start stacking knowledge early on. It's going to be a little expensive, but whatever. Okay, I'm going to queue up my next tech. So we're going to get this second additional fuel cells in our harvester. The next one I'm going to go for is survival training. Not because I'm going super military heavy early on, but because with this, it's going to unlock the armory. And in the armory, there's a tech to make it so that your suboids have no Solari upkeep. They're basically free. They just cost manpower. And then after that one, water batteries. When you run out of fuel cells, it starts to use water as your fuel cells. So for that reason, you want to start stacking water. Water is basically a fuel cell for you if you're playing House Vernius. Okay, so I got some of these guys going on. I am going to go ahead and I'm going to raid this this Plascrete district. Though, you know, you could debate whether or not you want to actually do that here, because I want the resources from that. And maybe we'll take it in the later stages of the game, but you really want to be pillaging constantly for some extra Solari early on. Okay, you get your first agent. Always slap down on Arrakis. That's going to give you additional authority production, which is going to allow you to expand quicker. So, easy decision right there was your first agent. Okay, you got to kind of babysit these suboids because you don't want them to be taking damage because they're very squishy, as you're seeing. I'm actually going to get 2 more right now. But they're good for rounding out your army. If you consider the fact that they only cost 20 manpower, no, they're right. They ain't too bad. Now, I've been so busy talking, I forgot to get my processing plant over here, but there it is. And we'll go ahead and build our, we'll get our nodes up here soon. And I'm going to start right out of the gate, and I'm going to get knowledge here, because this knowledge resource is going to be really good in this village. Some additional manpower, I'm going to go ahead and take that. Always be on the lookout for some easy points of interest to pick up early on here. Okay, we went ahead and we pillaged that. And there we go, our second spice field. And just in time, I can afford my next harvester. And technically, I don't even have to capture this first. If you have a neural node here, you don't have to technically have this since it is neighboring. Now, what I will caution you, because I've learned this the hard way in a lot of multiplayer games, it's all fun and dandy to be gathering from the neutral spice field until suddenly, boom, Atreides grabs this district and you just made a truce with them. And it's like, oh crap, now I gotta make a decision to go to fight them. It's gonna pull out your resources. So for that reason, I'm gonna take this region right away because I am not gonna get caught losing one of my spice fields. Okay, you can see I finished that ecotech, so I'm gonna add 2 batteries there, which is going to increase our output. And for early on, you can't actually sell. You're gonna have a decent amount of spice. You can actually sell more than you think at the very beginning. Let's go ahead and add our neural node. And then when this harvester shows up, we'll send them out to this spice region, which will be done with that neural node. And I'm going to add 1 fuel cell and say, look, oh, I don't have enough fuel cells. Well, that's going to be solved very soon here by the water batteries. You could even make an argument for going composite materials and then go these 2 first, just to immediately have no cost for your suboids, but it is what it is. So I kind of like these 2 and then these 2. Okay, so you can see, can't get that yet. We'll get that here in a moment. Sometimes you end up with a fuel region right away. Now, as I'm waiting to get enough authority, I need 70 authority to take that. What I am going to do is look for something else to pillage. So, this region, while it's going to be a great one to capture later, oh, it's kind of hard to get up there. Do I have to go through?
Yes, my lord.
We can get there. I'm going to go ahead and pillage that for now. No, I'm not. This is going to be really good. Man, I've got a lot of good territories nearby. This is a unique problem to have. Okay, at the start of the next council, gain more Plascrete per chome. 100% resource from pillaging. Oh yeah, that's, I'm going to try to win that. We'll see if we can get it. Now this one could screw me over. I could be putting all my votes into declining this. This is a bit of a gamble, quite honestly. We'll see what happens. Oh boy, and you'll see why I should have voted for this. You ready? That just knocked me in to low standing. And for that reason, most of the time, I do vote on that resolution that I took the gamble on that time. Because building these nodes costs a Landsraad standing, and if you hit this below 200 mark, it's going to hurt your influence production and hurt your Landsraad standing in general. So, not good. We'll get it back,
Command needed.
but not for a while because we're going to build another one over here. Let's go ahead and get a neural node out there. And you can see we're now gathering. But this is pretty cool, right? Early on, getting a lot of spice, going to have a lot of resources. So once we hit our 2500 hegemony, we're able to start upgrading our asphalt.
For orders.
Now, I'm not going to take that. I'm going to actually choose to get that once we're finished with our Arrakis mission. Okay, so I could choose another region to start raiding right now. I'm going to actually try to... Okay, we do see some fuel cells up there.
Listening.
Man, see, we could take the gamble. Now it's like, do we secure our mid-map spice? Or do we secure some more fuel cells? So I'm going to go for an alternative approach here. I am going to pillage this so nobody can take it. If I pillage it, it puts a negative right on there, right here. See this? So nobody else can take it for a period of time. Okay? So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to expand up north. And maybe later on in the game, I'll actually take this territory. Now, I'm going to have to pay attention and make sure I keep pillaging it so someone doesn't steal it away from me. So just be aware of that. And then we're going to take this fuel region to the north. Well, we could take, let's see. Do we want craft workshop? Now, we'll take that later. Let's go with, oh, there it is. That is a lot of wind, though. Now, we're going to go ahead and pillage. I'm going to go on a little bit of a pillaging rampage out here. We're waiting to have 81 authority. Well, we almost have it, so I might start heading back. Okay, we just hit 2500 hegemony, so you want to start getting your techs here. Very good. Look, actually that pillage gave me the resources I need to build my development here, so this is perfect.
We go.
Go ahead and put one militia in these towns so that they don't get just nabbed right away. Once you've got like your processing plant, you've got your neural nodes, you typically want to add plascrete production, and then you can choose to go for wholesale market for more Solari, and you're going to want water. Water is going to basically be fuel cells for you. So with this tech I told you about, the water batteries. Yep, we got that. Okay, we got our first two techs. So now we got to choose the next one to get. And here's where you can really choose your own adventure of what you're going for. For me, I am going to grab sequential thinking, start to get some more authority production. I am not going to go for this tech early on. Might grab that one later, but I'm going to get sequential thinking and then probably go for something like lay of the land, more knowledge per village controlled. So I'm going to go ahead and get a little bit more knowledge. Put my second agent on Arrakis for more authority. You can start putting them on Spacing Guild for more manpower or some more Solari. Kind of up to you. Now here comes a raider. I typically try to put one militia in each town to protect them from being instantly idled like this one is. I was actually trying to do that. I was in the process. Let's add our additional research hub. Always want to stack these research hub districts. Really, really good. I can actually put a maintenance. I really like I don't have my node here, right? So it's got a negative multiplier. In these regions, they're great spots to put something like a maintenance center. This thing isn't going to have output, but is going to benefit these two regions, which I am going to fill up with buildings. So it's nice to put things like that. Like this is going to pay for itself. Plascrete isn't completely ideal, but it is what it is. I really need the Plascrete here early on. And let's now talk about which development to get first and exactly how this asphalt works. So at 2500 hegemony, it's going to unlock the ability to upgrade your main base. They call it the asphalt. Now, it is very unique for Vernius how this works out. For other factions, you have like single slots, and then you'll have a slot that has 2 next to each other, then you have a slot that has 3 next to each other, and that's how you unlock these bonuses. For Vernius, basically, you can mix and match them however you want. So, for example, if I build 1 eco here, I will instantly get the tier 1 economic upgrade. So, it reduces the cost of economy developments by 15%. So, that makes it faster to research. All these tier 1s are the faster research for eco, military, and statecraft, right? So, you're going to immediately get that. Now, what you can do is just get tier 1 of each of these in the top one if you want. You can be like eco, military, statecraft, and that'll speed up the research for all of these. And I really like that method a lot of times. Sometimes I'll spread them out, but for example, you can have 1 eco here, and if I put two, I'll put my one military, it'll unlock the tier 1 military, and then say I put a second military, you'll lose that tier 1 and it'll become a tier 2 military bonus, which is additional armor. So that's kind of how this is going to work. I usually go for the additional Solari and authority for my first upgrade. I'm actually going to need a little bit more plascrete, which we just about have. But as you can see, you can just about time it to get that, to have, we have almost precisely the resources we need, thanks to the pillaging and thanks to some of these districts. Boom, there we go. Now that's going to build up for eco. And then how I like to time it is like around when that's finished, I'll be finishing up these upgrades, right? And then I can start grabbing things like geothermal condensers. I can start getting, I can go all the way down to spice enlightenment, stack all of my fuel cells in my harvesters, which I really, really like to do. By the way, speaking of stacking fuel cells, we got enough to max these out now, thanks to that water. Got trade coming in.
Make it worth my time.
Non-aggression pack. It's actually an okay trade for now because that non-aggression is going to help me when I have this technological exchange. So I'll grab that for now. Make sure I can hit my spice contract. I will be able to.
Here to serve.
Let's go up
As
here
you command.
and take our fuel cells. Now, oh my gosh, look at this. There's our 3rd spice region. So, as I mentioned, you want to get your first 2 spice regions as soon as you can, and then try to lock down that 3rd one. And we're right on track. Look at that economy. Just got my first development. Now I've got my 3rd harvester coming out. I've already got my node here. And if you kind of build, tall like this, like stretch your army, your development out. So I guess horizontally, as you might say, you should be able to uncover your other spice fields and have nodes already ready to help you out. Okay, that guy died. You're gonna lose Suboid, so just be ready for that. And by the way, since we did finish our armory, I kind of forgot about this because we've just been talking about a lot of stuff. The first thing you want to do is get your no Solari upkeep. Look at that. So you get your first slot unlocked when you get to your first military tech. And you go in there and basically say every unit typically has upkeep. You can see the cost of my army right now. And if I come in here, I can do this no Solari upkeep. And I love that. Now these things, they just cost manpower to get, and then they're free. So you can just be pumping out manpower if you want and be making tons of Suboid soldiers. They're not super tanky, so, they're kind of like Zerglings the way I see them. They're expendable. You can get your extra ones as well. So I'll go for ignores half of, this one's good. Allied drones get 10% power. So it's buffing your allied drone. And then I'm going to also buff my fighting mech. I typically go for damage against non-mechanical, and then I go for additional armor while tethered. I really like these 2. You could also go for 2 additional armor, but they cost fuel cells. So it's up for you. You can do that, and then they have armor everywhere. And maybe that's worth it, but I don't want to spend the fuel cells really right now for that. Boom. We just took our fuel cell region. And we're doing pretty good. We've got 3 spice fields essentially under control, and that is absolutely massive. Maintenance facility is going to be bringing down the cost of all these really expensive buildings I have here right now. You can see 20% less Solari upkeep. And Plascrete's a little tough right now. So right after you get these developments, you just spend all your Plascrete. Be careful not to spam your additional building slots, because I'm bad at this. They get progressively more expensive. So if I spent it right now, I'd have no Plascrete really to build. Okay, get our 3rd harvester, and we'll go ahead and take this spice region. Oh my gosh, this is just going great. I wish this was one of our multiplayer games right now. Okay, so I got this region. First thing I'm going to do is I am going to get our fuel cells, because you can only do that in the regions with these little fire-looking emblems. And I will go ahead. Also, I'm going to put a heavy militia out here because it's a little further away from my main base. I want to be able to guard this, so I'm going to stock that one up. Okay, and now I can start going for some more pillaging if you want. This is a time if you're floating resources and you feel like you want to get an extra ore ship, you can, and recommend it. But even look, with 2 of them, I've explored really most of the things in my close region that I can interact with at this time. So I don't know if you have to go straight for 3, quite honestly. I'm going to choose the developments. I almost always choose the development progression. This will basically advance a random economic development, which is really, really nice. And quite honestly, we've got a really decent economy set up. And this is in the, the first few minutes of this game. And from there, you can really decide what you want to do. What I would recommend is go really invest heavy in your knowledge. Work on finishing off this eco tree. So you go something like this so that you get your eco bonuses. And let's look at this. Our development just finished. So it's going to be 15% faster. So it's going to work out that now it takes less time to get these eco techs. And then your next development, you want to get a statecraft and you can start spamming out all of these. Now, what you'll want to do is get technological exchange and then get heretical computing. Heretical computing allows you to purchase analytical machines in your espionage tab. And when you get these things, it's essentially like you can buy agents. Now, it does cost you a little Landsraad, and they're not exactly agents, but this unlocks the ability to get those. And then you go even further down to here, you get 1 knowledge per information level with each analytical machine. So when you get these machines, you put 1 there, 1 there, 1 there, 1 there, as you can afford it, right? Don't do it right away, right? You do that, and then go an assassination route. I love doing assassination. I'm gonna have a guide specifically on how to do assassination very effectively. I was able to take out all the players in my lobby in my last multiplayer game, but essentially the biggest thing you need to know is you're going to want to get all the way down to here so you can get you have free infiltration cells next to your territory and you can train assassins. And then you want to research all the way down to countermeasures, and you're going to use this obfuscate on it. So it makes it so nobody has countermeasures, so it's going to reduce their agent slot in counterintelligence, which makes it easier for you to pull off an assassination. Okay, guys, well, I hope you enjoyed this opening to House Vernius. As you see, my economy is set up for success. I've got 3 spice fields already under control. Did a little bit of pillaging to supplement my Solari income. Was able to maximize my production by putting maintenance center between my 2 nodes. I'm ready to expand my nodes towards the center, or should I want to, and up here to the other regions of the map. Oh, look at, oh my gosh, I could get another spice region. This is absolutely crazy if I build that there. So give it a try. Let me know what types of things maybe you like to do. If you've been playing a little bit of Vernius, what's the opening that you've been enjoying? And if this video helped you out, please let me know about it down in the comments. I do have a Discord with a Dune role that you can join, link in the description, and come chat to me about Dune. And with that, thank you so much for watching this Vernius opening guide. Be on the lookout for some of my more advanced guides later on. I'll do military guides, assassinations, deep dive in the tech trees, and a bunch of other stuff. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.